I'm not doing this one sober. So for spooky season, I want to talk about something truly sinister, Ryan Murphy and his productions. There's something to be said about how FX keeps giving Ryan Murphy a budget to do any of this anymore. It's truly astonishing. So this season's clusterfuck of a story is based off of a book called Delicate Condition by Danielle Valentine. The story is based off how a woman is convinced that there are forces at play trying to keep her from getting pregnant, which allegedly is based off of Rosemary's Baby. Now, confession, I've never watched Rosemary's Baby, and I've also haven't really looked up any reviews or reactions to the book Delicate Condition either, because I kind of wanted to go into this season, you know, rather blind. I kind of wanted the story to kind of speak for itself. You know, if it's good enough, it should be able to speak on its own merit, right? Now, this plot actually reminds me of a couple of other stories, some of which Ryan Murphy has actually made himself, including Murder House, Red Tide season, the Gaslight episode especially, the Stories episode Bow, and obviously stories like, you know, Delicate Condition and Rosemary's Baby. Also, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're returning. I'm Hayes, and let's get right into this video. Oh God. So the first episode starts out with a quote. "Unto the woman he said, I will multiply thy pain and thy conception, and pain that shall bring forth children." Yeah, so Emma's character Anna is seen laying in bed being cuddled until she realizes it's a stranger, and I'm not gonna lie, I laughed. We're starting already, Ryan. Okay, cool. She then proceeds to get up and chase this intruder through her house while she's alone and pregnant. Anyways, after being a dumbass, she decides to call the cops. And after speaking with the police, she sees a trail of blood leading to a ripped up picture of her ultrasound. Ooh. So we flash back to 1 week earlier when Anna has her appointment for her fertility clinic. And we get the first signs of the husband acting very sus, very worthy, you know? And on her way, she sees this woman who's low-key giving New York fashion student. I'm sorry. How can you look at that and not say I'm sorry. Look at the hair. Look at the glasses. I'm sorry, the heels, the red heels. And at the clinic, we see this creepy-ass doctor. And I just think it's funny how pretty much every man in this season is creepy or sus in some kind of way. Anna is then swiftly basted like a turkey and then falls asleep. If there's one thing Ryan Murphy gonna give you was the opening title sequence. Yeah, so after waking up, we see more men being sus. You know, if you needed any help understanding that these men are sus, the music cues will certainly help. God, there's no subtlety in this season whatsoever. So the end of the visit, as she's sitting in the wheelchair, all the background actors are over here acting sus, like, damn, like you can't even trust the background actors, like that's crazy. Anyways, this woman called Miss Preacher shows up, and she's apparently this type of like conspiracy theorist, very supposed wackadoo, but we all know that like when it comes to like those types of people within horror mediums, they're always the ones to be trusted. Why is she all up in her face like that though? Like, back up. We then get the introduction of Kim's character and...
Tell the Daniels to suck my clit. She's not missing a press day for a fucking commercial shoot.
Like, who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down. Like, I didn't even get to take my shoes off. I didn't even get a pleasant hello. I didn't get a greeting. Just like... And I find it very interesting how prominent her character is in this season, considering that she's not the best actress. And my thing is that it's not even her acting that is the most like worst part about her character. It's the freaking dialogue. It's the dialogue. It's how she enunciates things. It's her face. Like, she will be saying the most outlandish shit while just being like I have two main problems with Kim's character. And yeah, I'm gonna keep calling her Kim because I mean it's Kim. Like, every time this character comes on screen, I am just Kim. Anyways, one, her dialogue is just so literal and on the nose. It really feels like Kim wrote these lines herself. It doesn't feel like she's playing a character that is just naturally saying these lines. It feels like Kim herself is writing dialogue based on her own lived experience and is then just saying this to the audience. It's really kind of immersion breaking, if I have to say. It like takes me out of the experience. It just makes me like there's this one scene in one of these episodes that kind of references directly like a whole situation involving her, and I'm just like, Kim, you're breaking the immersion. Why are you speaking to me? Why are you speaking to the audience right now? By the way, this is what happens when you cross picket lines. Thankfully, I'm not giving Ryan any of my money. Ryan ain't getting no views from me. And two, she's just so unnaturally vulgar, like just for vulgar's sake. It's not even like anything like that makes sense with the character. It just feels like shock value, very Sam Levinson. I keep saying Ryan Murphy is the gay Sam Levinson. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you don't see it too. Anyways, yeah, her dialogue is just so off-putting. And she's like the main character that's like privy to this specific kind of like critique. It's just, I think she's supposed to be comic relief. I think I'm supposed to laugh at this situation. I think I'm supposed to laugh at what she says. But yeah, the whole point of this scene is basically to establish the conflict between Anna wanting to keep her career and to keep her pregnancy in check. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that Anna is some type of child star actress, and she's basically essentially trying to regain the popularity and get back into, you know, the general consciousness, especially after she has a big break. I forgot what movie that they mentioned that she was, but she was in a movie or something recently, and she's essentially blowing up again. Keep that in mind. Yeah, anyways, at the end of this scene, we basically see a toy of her childhood character off the TV show. And we get a moment of her like not knowing that the doll somehow jumped out of the box itself and placed itself in her bag. And the thing about it is that we as the audience, there's no jump cut. There's nothing to really like justify what it is that just happened. Like there are some things that we can see, like we can justify like, oh, you know, like someone was, you know, like hacking her device, or, you know, someone's basically gaslighting her. But there's just moments like this that keep reappearing that just bother the hell out of me. And I know we as the audience are supposed to be gaslit to like, oh, we're going through Anna's perspective, so we see how she responds to things and we see how things are from her perspective, and we're being gaslit. Not fun, Ryan. You're boring me and also confusing the hell out of me. Like, why? How the hell did I get in her bag like that? Like, the best that we can do right now is explain it based on the pills, but it's just like, yada yada yada. So we find out a scene that the husband apparently had an ex-wife who died tragically. We don't, at least as far as I'm aware, we don't really figure out how in these first like 4 episodes, like how exactly she died. But yeah, the bitch dead. Be nice, be nice. She unfortunately passed away. And as you can imagine, because in that scene, especially when we find out this information, the husband seems, at least in my opinion, like oddly, like still, you know, upset about the whole situation, which he explains, you know, like naturally, you know, somebody would take a minute to get over that. But basically, all that to say is that Anna's feeling very insecure about him, his previous relationship. Her, you know, this is a reoccurring thing of her, like, you know, looking up fan comments and, you know, things like that. People talking about both her and the ex-wife and everything. Not good for you, girl. Not great for you, but it's realistic, I guess. Then he proceeds to... Then he proceeds to go into her hair and pull out a Black Widow spider with his bare fucking hands. He was holding it like a marble, just like, oh. He was just like, with his bare hands. Serial killer behavior. That would simply just be it for me, because I could, how... So yeah, we get this dinner scene where between her husband, Um, I have her in my notes as Mixie Pixie. I really should. Or call her Miss British. We'll call her Miss British because she has this thick ass British accent for whatever reason. So yeah, Miss British is essentially running them out, and she mentions, "Oh girl, the ex-husband of the ex-wife of Anna's husband." I just refer to him as the husband in my script, so he's just the husband. And as you would expect, this sends a hormonal, Anna into the bathroom, feeling insecure. We get more Kim dialogue for some reason.
If that does happen, I will help you raise this little spider baby as if it crawled out of my own womb.
You're unbelievable.
So after her coming back to essentially apologize to Anna, Anna then compliments her lipstick, yada yada yada. So she gives her the lipstick, which, I mean, the way that the scene was just played out, which is really weird. It was just like, ooh, pay attention to this red lipstick. I'm guessing it's like has something to do, because like we saw it also in the opening title sequence, like, so I guess it's important. I mean, me personally, I assume that it had something to do with like the girlies who are trying to satanize. Oh, Ryan. So yeah, she's being sus too. That's all you need to know. So later that night, we see more of the calendar changing. There's this like continuous thing in the first couple episodes where like the calendar and her appointment dates keep changing. So essentially, she gets this interview with, I can't remember the dude's name, one of the late night talk show hosts, white dudes kind of thing. During the interview, she's doing pretty good until she spots Miss Preacher Lady just staring at her in the middle of the crowd, and this causes her to mess up a little bit. So later, feeling a bit on edge, as you can imagine with everything going on, she essentially wants to join her husband at his like art gallery premiere kind of thing, just to feel like she's not alone sitting in the house. We see more sus women because everyone in this story besides Anna has to be sus. Just no sense of subtlety. And we see Cara Delevingne's character, is that how you pronounce her name? And Bob, she had that bob on. She had that Edna Mode on her. So the husband then proceeds to scare the shit out of his hormonal wife. And he does this more than once. It always confuses me because it's just like your wife is going through shit and you're gonna like, It gave when Katniss like gripped, like she put them paws on him, and I'm just like. And then when she reacts appropriately, he then proceeds to tell her. Could you not act like this? You're kind of ruining my night. I could never let a motherfucker talk to me like that. So at her next appointment, we get more the doctors being creepy as per usual because everyone this season has to be sus or just off-putting in some kind of way. As she's going under, she gets these visions, hallucinations of Miss Preacher Lady spitting up black fluid into her mouth. Lovely. Anyways, we end the episode back where we started, right when she found, like the blood trail, the intruder and everything. So she finds the lipstick that, I said I wasn't gonna call her Mixie Pixie. We find the lipstick that Miss British gave her with the calendar alert telling her to look in the mirror. And what do we see? On the mirror and lipstick, we see, "Don't do it, Anna." Episode 2. Ryan Murphy gonna have to run me my check. So episode 2, Rockbye. Basically the episode starts out with the cops showing Anna the security footage of her husband leaving around the time the intruder came. He mysteriously had to leave the minute right before an intruder came in the house. And when he got back, he didn't see a damn thing. He saw nothing suspicious. Anyway, he gives this bullshit ass story about how we need to go get dog food or some shit for their animal. Not like he's ever interacted with this animal so far in this story. He still has not interacted with his damn it once. Not even once. More of the cops, the background actors, your mama, your broke ass daddy, your damn fucking fetus that hasn't even been born yet. Everybody just being sus. Just everybody. Everybody's sus. Everybody's suspicious. Everybody's just full of bullshit. It's just, oh my god, right? See, one of my biggest problems with this season is that it's just unenjoyable because when every character, even the fucking background actors, are all sus and just unlikable, it makes every character unlikable except for Anna. Because Anna's so goddamn stupid, especially in the beginning of this season, it's just like, I can't even feel that bad for her. There's like, if there's any emotional moments in this season that I actually care about in any type of way, it is with Anna. But even then, she's such a bland protagonist that it's just like, I can't even like fully appreciate her as a character. Anyways, the policeman take notes and he essentially makes reference of the fact that, oh, you know, maybe it could have been someone that you knew because, you know, the dog didn't bark, you know, when the intruder came. He didn't say it like that. He said it in a dumbass way.
Crazy. But do you think anyone you know could have, you know, maybe thought it was funny to pull a prank on you?
They then ask if she's on any type of medications or anything to make her, oh, because, you know, you're going crazy, you're seeing things. Miss New York fashion student turns into a fucking baby for some reason. Anyways, Kim's character throws a surprise party for her Gotham Award nominations. Fuck if I know. Which is a choice, you know, considering Anna just dealt with a home invasion last night. She just dealt with a home invasion the night before this. Kim then tries to convince her to get back on Instagram again, and you know, understandably, Anna's a little apprehensive about wanting to put herself back so much into the spotlight, considering she just dealt with a home invasion. And then some random homosexual background character, a man, tells her that just means that she's hot.
Girl, that means you're hot.
This character never comes up again, by the way. So one-on-one, Kim tells Anna, you know, her team worked really hard, you know, to get this whole, you know, nomination things together. She's working really hard. She's a publicist, by the way. She and her team are working very hard to make sure that Anna can get the best career that she can and she can actually, you know, thrive at everything, and therefore her team and her people can then thrive. But instead of saying that, she then says,
how many blowjobs were collectively given for you to even be considered? I mean, Derek's jaw may never recover, but if your face looks like a fucking cat's asshole every minute of the day, no one's gonna wanna watch it win an Oscar.
I can't with this dialogue. Pay your writers, people. Please. More of Kim's character speaking directly to the audience, talking about her own personal experience in the spotlight and how she feels about it. It's so immersion breaking. She then proceeds to give Anna this random ass like pack of vials of like random shit she calls B12 and then tells her to drink it. Of course, Anna throws up afterwards because you're drinking random shit. So she calls the fertility hospital to make sure that everything's all right with her baby. You know, obviously she's very anxious, she's very on edge and everything. But on the phone, we get this really weirdly paced scene.
Cora, hi.
Hi, Anna.
How did you know it was me?
Any update on your stalker?
Like, that conversation wasn't weird, like, wasn't weirdly paced to anybody else. Like, that feels so off. Anyways, more people knowing way too much about her when they really shouldn't. expecting her calls, you know, like, just real sus shit. Even the receptionist at your local doctor is sus. Anyways, Anna thinks, you know, Miss Preacher is the one stalking her and, you know, she needs to worry about her. While cooking later that night, her husband then proceeds to scare the shit out of her again. Mind you, her home just got invaded 2 days ago. 2 days. See, I let the first incident go, even though I really shouldn't have, because the home invasion didn't happen. Your wife, who was going through fertility issues and trying to keep her stress and everything under control, she's hormonal, everything, all of that, you then proceed to come up behind her unannounced and just grip her. That's what you get. She stabbed you and that's what you get. He then looked at her like, how dare you? Like, it was his face. You could all... Then we get another scene of somehow the audience being taken on this gaslit ride too, because we see a calendar who, in the beginning of that specific scene, we see that it looks a type of way. And then we see the calendar in that scene. No one was near that calendar. It just suddenly all these X's on the dates appear, and now suddenly 2 weeks have passed. She doesn't question that enough for me. There are moments that she questions shit, but she doesn't question that much. How the fuck do 2 weeks pass? How do X's appear on your goddamn calendar? I'm gonna need Ryan to clarify that in the next upcoming episodes. I'm gonna need him to do that. I can't deal with this shit anymore. The calendar basically meant that 2 weeks later she was supposed to take her pregnancy test. So she then, thinking that it's 2 weeks later, takes the pregnancy test. She finds out that she's pregnant. Yay, good, fun, happy times. The husband, after just finding out his wife, who has fertility issues, just officially became pregnant, and he's about to be a dad, a first-time dad, mind you. He then takes a call from another bitch. The next scene, we get an example, a really good example of why I don't like Kim's I don't like the dialogue for the majority of the characters in this season, if I'm being honest, but Kim's character stands out the most because I feel like they tried to make her the comic relief, like the very like loud, brash, you know, explicit character, when really it just feels immersion breaking. So we get a scene of Kim essentially showing Anna this dress that apparently was worn by Marilyn Monroe at some kind of 1990 something Oscars. And when I first watched this scene, I had to pause it because I'm just like, is this a reference to... Lo and behold, I unpause, and a few seconds later, she's just like, the camera zooms in on her face.
No, just do not rip it.
She's supposed to be a different character, right? Kim is supposed to be playing someone that's not her. Why is there so much dialogue that feels like Kim herself wrote this? Anyways, they try the dress on. They go to the mirror that Anna tried to clean up, but the lipstick wouldn't come off. Girl, did you try, really? Anyways, they start singing a song. Kim starts singing a song, and she starts it off with, "Sooner or later, you're gonna be mine," while gripping and holding Anna. There's no subtlety in this season, like, at all whatsoever. Like, every character is kind of terrible. Like, every character is just meant to be sus, and I'm just like, this does not make for enjoyable content. What happened to the seasons where, like, the characters were, like, low-key kind of bitchy and, like, mean and bully-ish? I'm talking about Coven, by the way. Remember back when the characters used to be still fun and enjoyable and interesting to watch? But no, now we gotta get the husband and Kim Kardashian to play herself. Anyways, they start singing in unison, and while they're singing, the mirror breaks. If my singing was bad enough to shatter mirrors, I would just call it a day. At the Gotham premiere, we get this table dinner scene of, like, Kim and Anna and the husband, and this random old ugly white dude. He keeps talking and saying words when he really should shut the hell up. And there's this weird hate vibe going on between Kim's character and this dude, who will later find out that they're fucking. Child, here she goes to another bathroom. And while she's trying to gussy herself up, you know, fix her composure, this loud ass sweaty bitch comes up behind her and starts doing the absolute most.
We have the same shoes! Twinsies!
Anyways, Anna gets sick. I mean, I would too if this bitch was in my goddamn face. She's throwing up in the toilet, and as this woman is coming up behind her, trying to, you know, like help her, you know, hold her hair and like hold her stomach, Anna gets, understandably, you know, like, and it's like, get away from my baby. She then proceeds to push old girl, and old girl lightly bumps her head against the sink. So old girl bumps her head against the sink and then proceeds to softly place herself down on the floor. Softly place herself on the floor, and somehow that causes her brain to leak. So she somehow lands on the floor hard enough to crack her skull open and just leak all of her brain juice onto the floor. And Anna leaves her there to bleed to death. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying not to. Anyway, she wins her stupid fuck ass award. She goes on stage, you know, doing the whole yada yada accept a speech thing. She then sees Miss Preacher in the audience again. She then freezes up again, gets sick, and starts like puking up like stuff. Live in front of everyone. She then has to be wheeled off by the ambulance, and while she's in the carrier, she starts like talking about, oh, you know, like, 'cause she's near the bathroom. She's like, oh, you know, what happened to the lady who, you know, is like bleeding to death in the bathroom floor. And the paramedics are just like, oh, what are you talking about? There's nothing there, gaslighting her again. The husband decides to let them inject his pregnant wife full of drugs. This is a very fragile pregnancy, by the way. She's over here just like, let them know I'm pregnant, and he just doesn't. The media is blowing her ass up, though, eating that ass. They are on her ass for this whole, not Oscars, Gotham Awards, whatever the hell. You know, all things given, you know, with the home invasion, the potential stalking, you know, like the harm to her baby and everything. Anna and the husband then decide to go over to Mixie Pixie's house. They go over to Miss British's house, who then offers her house up, you know, you could stay here for a minute. And we meet the security guard dude, who, shockingly, is also suspicious. But we'll get into that later. He goes up later. At dinner, Anna finds, you know, this random picture of the husband, Miss British, and her, like, the husband's ex-wife, who's dead now. Like a picture of them together, which like isn't like too weird because, you know, like Miss British is, you know, was like best friends with, you know, the husband's ex-wife. The dialogue in this season is just so weird, awfully paced, on the nose, explicit for explicit's sake. So later that night, Anna then wakes up hearing whispers and chants from across the house, and for someone who just dealt with a home invasion, she's really particularly horny about wanting to explore places by herself. I get it. We wouldn't have a plot in a horror movie or series if the protagonist wasn't stupid, but like I can only suspend my disbelief for so long, Ryan. Anyways, the next morning, she's dealing with cramps and pain, and she starts bleeding in the limo. So the driver takes her to the hospital. We meet a nurse called Miss Ivy, who looks shockingly suspicious. She then proceeds to stick the ultrasound thing and dig up in there. A few minutes later, after Miss Ivy leaves, Anna miscarries, and this is actually like one of the few scenes where like I actually cared about really any character, to be honest, because I think that Emma's delivery and the scene where, you know, she miscarried and the scene afterwards are actually pretty well done. But yeah, after being traumatized, the nurses and the doctors tell her, you know, oh, there is no nurse called Nurse Ivy in this hospital. Episode 3. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. So this episode starts out with a version of a vision that she had in the previous episode of her in this field of flowers, holding her baby up, you know, spinning it around. They're having a good old time or whatever. So suddenly the baby then disappears. And her dress certainly starts turning into like this bloody version of this dress. Yes, come on, Renaissance. So on the car ride home, she proceeds to try to confide in her husband about the miscarriage and, you know, feeling like someone's stalking her and there's a plot to prevent her pregnancy. The husband really looks like he's like caring, but really not caring at all about what's happening to her, and not even like wanting to hide that. Like, it's obvious that he doesn't believe her, you know, even though there's substantial evidence to prove that. The husband then proceeds to try and muster up a crumb of emotion on his face. So after the husband gaslights her again, and we see the driver also looking back into the conversation, she then tells the driver to pull over, which good on you, because that's what I was saying. I was just like, bitch, I would just say, pull over, I'll just get off right here. Good on her. Good on her. But also her dumbass. She says that she needs to be alone. She's not really trusting of her husband or the driver at this point. She then proceeds to wander into the forest alone, go off the trail, and then when she sees this random campfire and Miss Preacher is sitting in a tree branch, get it, cause Rockabye Baby on the treetop. So we see her heading back home. Her husband appears to be on the phone trying to contact people to, you know, go look for her and everything. She apparently loses track of time again. To her, it felt like, you know, she was just in the forest and, you know, she came home, but apparently it had been hours. Her husband then gaslights her again. Do you see how this doesn't make for enjoyable characters? Saying that she's heavily drugged, you know, the hospital had to, you know, give her whatever type of medicine. She then proceeds to bring up a very valid point.
Time? What?
Well, they gave you a pretty heavy sedative at the hospital.
You let them give me a sedative without asking me?
You had just had a miscarriage, Anna. They said it was standard.
And why'd you let me walk into the fucking woods by myself?
Of course, they go try looking for the campsite. Of course, they can't find it because yada yada yada. Anna's gaslit. She's just seeing shit and yada yada yada. And all this bullshit. I'm so tired. So back at home, she tries to look up Miss Preacher's information, any social medias or anything. She did find something at first, which is why she kind of like figured that she was, you know, maybe not a cultist, but like figured that she was, you know, a conspiracy theorist and everything. For some reason, the information, the account and everything are deleted, I guess. Oh, I'm sick. She goes to sleep in her bed at night, and then 2 seconds later, she's up at her window, standing at the window, and it's broad morning. The nursery rhyme this time is coming from a woman in her house who calls herself a house manager. Close enough. Can you tell us that our bills have been affected? Tell her that the income isn't coming in anymore. She's out here dealing with Mint Mobile and the rats. Tell me that does not look like Boston CEO. Tell me that doesn't look like her. The house manager is pumping breast milk in her kitchen for some reason. And there's a random bowl of like apples and like other stuff and like wine and stuff like that. And she's pissed because no one is supposed to know that her and her husband are sitting there. So the fact that she got this delivery sent to her house, delivered to her, it makes her believe, like, oh, her husband, said something to someone in order for people to know that they're there, right? He then says that he had nothing to do with it, of course. He then tries to proceed to feed her an apple. She declined it, so he tries to call Kim to get her to come over because, that's Anna's best friend, maybe she'll help, solve whatever she's dealing with. We then see Kim calling her number, which has the ringtone of Rockabye Baby for some reason. Suddenly time shifts again, from morning to midday. The way that this story is edited and just made is just so off-putting and confusing. And I know that that's the point, yada yada yada. You got 2 more episodes of you really haven't hold my entry. You got 2 more episodes where I give you to make this make sense. Anna, it's been 3 hours. Oh my god, girl, you need a salad. They then go to the beach, yada yada yada. Kim lets her know that she has about a week left of moping, and then she's right back to business. She lets her know that she got her booked for the cover of Vogue. She manages to stumble upon, you remember the doll from earlier of her childhood, like the toy of her childhood character? She manages to find the toy again, buried in the sand. Somehow, out of all of the beach, she manages to stumble upon the one spot where there's this tiny doll that's like this tall. It has like nails in its stomach or whatever. Ooh. Then there's these 2 bitches sitting in this like Colts mask bodysuit black. It's real cute. But my thing is that these 2 bitches were sitting with goats on the beach, and nobody saw them. No, nobody. Not one single person on that. No. Anyways, Anna gets home. She takes the wine. She goes to the basement and then proceeds to go through Miss British's photo albums, goes through her childhood photos, and is just drinking the entire bottle of wine. Eventually, after drinking the entire bottle of wine, she passes out on the floor. Girl, same, yeah, I feel you there. We here, we see each other. She wakes up on the cold basement floor, hearing whispers and chants coming from this little cubby hole thing, extra door in the basement. She then proceeds to go up to it, open the door. While hearing chanting coming from further down the basement there, she then proceeds to go down in the mind you, we can still hear the chanting. We can hear it. We can still hear the voices, the giggling, and she proceeds by herself to go down further into the basement. You deserve whatever happens to you at that point. We then see this room, which, I'm not gonna lie, it was real cute. We see this room, with shelves full of pickled babies. We see this room with this shelf full of pickled baby parts. I'm not gonna lie, the fairy lights were real cute. The shot was real cute. It was giving Sam Levinson. I'm sorry. I'll give credit where credit is due. That was a cute ass shot. She then, after seeing this, proceeds to keep going into the basement until she sees this little like hospital fertility, that whole like thing where you gotta put your legs up like this. For some reason, this is what spooks her to getting the fuck out of there. Too bad she gets got by a group of cultists who strap her in, knock her out, and then proceed to inject her with some type of substance, right? While chanting Ave Satanas. Because anytime that Ryan Murphy wants to make something scary in his shows now, he always resorts to Satan. I'm bored. Give me some different. Anyway, she wakes up back on the basement floor. She feels the baby kicking inside of her. Remember, she thought the baby had died. She miscarried. So now she tries to tell the husband that she can feel the baby moving again. Of course he doesn't believe her. He tries to be like, oh, you know, I can't keep doing this. It was my baby too, which could have fooled me. You haven't been upset, stressed, confused, sad this entire fucking time. But she goes to this baby store. She starts sniffing all the baby clothes. Mid-sniff, she sees two of like the cultist ladies in like the cult garb with the goats walking through the store and like the lights flickering. Of course time skips again and no one else saw that. Anyways, the worker lady at the place just like, we're about to close, you know. But on her way out, she's just like, she goes up to Anna's stomach and feels it. And she's just like, oh, you know, oh, you got a real strong spirit in you. And Anna's like, wait, you can feel the movement too? And she's just like, yeah. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. On her way home, she sees Miss Bob posted up in the middle of an alleyway at night while she's being chauffeured around. She tells old dude to pull over. I gotta confront this bitch. Because mind you, she thinks this is the same girl who caused her to miscarry at the hospital, Nurse Ivy. On her way to go confront this bitch, like a random man comes up and like talks to her, like pulls the girl's attention away, and she's just like, oh well, another time perhaps. I'm sorry, you think this bitch killed your baby? Fight this bitch. If you don't better than me, because I would have fought the bitch in front of her nigga. Miss Preacher goes and slams her hands up against the window, trying to warn her again. Lastly, at her wit's end, Anna types into her calendar, which, remind you, keeps getting the date and the things keep getting changed. She keeps changing her password. She thinks that that's going to help solve the problem. So she types into her calendar, what do you want? They have this back and forth where the lady who hacked her phone, which I'm guessing is Miss Preacher, and it's just like, did they kill my baby? And the Miss Preacher lady is just like, they did something to your baby, but your baby's still alive. Then Anna sees like this dead raccoon carcass with maggots. Yeah, the episode ends with her understanding that her baby isn't dead. Now I know the whole this season is split up between two parts, you know, not like double feature, but like in the way that the episode 5 is going to be the mid-season finale and everything. There's going to be like a little short hiatus and everything. I might do episode 4 and 5 next week. My thing is with this season is that it feels like such a prolonged episode of stories. Like it fit, like the energy of it, like the core, like just the energy of American Horror Story really isn't even there anymore. Like I think this season is better than last season because New York City was it was worse than bad because Ryan Murphy hasn't made a good season in years, like years. But my thing is that just the core energy of American Horror Story has kind of changed in a way, it just feels like this episode just feels like a long stories episode. I mean, I'm technically like 4 episodes in, because I'm filming this right before the 5th episode premieres. Like, not much has actually even happened. Like, this season is kind of really boring, but not as boring as New York City. New York City, but I couldn't even get through that. I got 5 episodes in, and I'm just like, this is worse than bad. It's boring. It's not even fun, campy. It's just like not we, but y'all cross picket lines, like writer strike picket lines, to produce this fuck ass season, and it's giving nothing. It's not worth it. But that's my thoughts so far on Delicate. There's no reason for this season to happen right now. I have a YouTube short about this. Summary: characters bad, dialogue bad, the pacing is bad. It's just not great. It's just really not. And then I think they're gonna rely on the same like Satanism plot line. It's just, can we just go ahead and just lay American Horror Story down? She's begging for release, the sweet release of death. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.